Well, welcome to possibly the smallest carp that's ever been filmed on CARPology, but it's a start for the year actually. It's my first fish since the 9th of December, so nearly 2 months later, little day ticket venue, and we're off the mark. Now, as happy as I am with this little fish, it's not the purpose of the video. I'm actually out with 2 new reels from Kodex, just putting them through the paces, seeing how they perform, and so far they've done everything I need them to. Just put this one back, hopefully get something a bit bigger, and talk about the reels. So with me today are 2 brand new reels from Kodex. I've got the Pulse-Runner and the Kelositi. Now I'll start off with availability. The Pulse-Runner will be available from May, so if you like what you see today, you may have to hold out a few more weeks or months depending on when this video goes up, but the Kelositi is already available as of February, so at the point of filming you can already get your hands on the Kelositi. Now before we jump into everything that these offer, the main question is, why would you go for these over, say, a Shimano or a Daiwa? And we talked to Kodex themselves, and they themselves said, probably price-wise. Now we read all your comments, we see all the things that often put you off of a product, whether it be reels, rods, bibs, whatever. So many of you comment the price and complain about how much things cost. Kodex have listened, and here's your answer. Something that doesn't cost too much, and I'll get onto the individual prices shortly, but they don't break the bank. So it might sound a bit sort of, oh, the only reason to buy it is because it's cheaper. That's one main reason. A lot of people look at money and that will put them off, especially at the current climate. People may be a bit tighter for cash, so that's one big benefit, but you're not cutting corners on the capabilities. Now I'm using these on my day session today. I'm actually halfway through my day session. I'll get onto each of the features and how they perform, but so far I can't fault them. They're doing everything I want them to. I've caught a fish so far, I've got my rods out, I've brought them back in. That's what a lot of you want to do. Now I'll move on to the actual cosmetics of them as well, how they look. They're a bit different to the norm of what we've been seeing over the last probably couple of years, where everything's been going matte black, understated, subtle. That seems to be the main thing that all these companies are going for. So you've got a bit more chrome on show, a few different shades of colours, so it's not really understated. There's actually a bit of bling. When the sun shines on it, that chrome shines a bit more. These spools, at the moment I've got the shiny ones on, but they do come with a graphite grey as well, so if you want a slightly more subtle colour on the spool, you can do so. But that's pretty much how they look, and yeah, what Kodex angle is coming at for you fishermen. So if you want something that doesn't break the bank, but does everything you need it to, then stick around, because I'm going to jump into some of the features now. Remember, if you like this sort of content and much more, then please do subscribe to us and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads. And also follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, where we have regular updates. Moving on to some of the features. Now, in my hand at the moment is the Kelositi. So this is the bigger one of the 2. So it's worth noting that the Kelositi, slightly larger spool, bigger capacity, probably better suited for larger venues, and the Pulse-Runner, absolutely perfect for this sort of venue. That's what I've been using. Obviously I've been using both of them today. This is more than up to the task for this sort of venue, but if you're someone that wants to fish slightly larger venues, this is probably going to be the one you'd go for. I've already touched upon the looks of these as well, but so we'll talk a bit more about the features. The main feature that stands out to me is the Freespool function. Now this is something that a lot of companies seem to be doing away with, and just going to a single clutch system at the front, so you have to adjust the front clutch every single time you get a fish. You've got to loosen it up to your loose clutch system for when you want waiting for a bite, and then you've got to twist that round once you're playing the fish. A Freespool is something I grew up using, and I think a lot of people still do use them, but so many companies aren't doing it anymore that those of you that still like this feature and need to get a new set, that you're missing this. So flick of the switch, I'm now into Freespool. This rod is currently out, so hopefully it'll go off my hand whilst doing this piece. That's now in a Freespool setup. All I've got to do is then flick that switch back down, and the clutch is much tighter. That's now back to a clutch I've set for playing a fish, which is adjusted by the front clutch. So you can flick the switch, or if I put it back on, you can also wind, and it clicks that switch off for you. So it's nice and easy to set your rod up. Once you've cast the rod out, flick that switch, you know, or rest assured that it's already set at a tension you desire to allow the fish to run with your rig. You adjust that clutch with the rear knob at the back here, slightly more rubberized texture on the Kelositi, slightly smoother texture with more chrome on the Pulse-Runner. So that adjusts the clutch for the Freespool, and this one at the front adjusts the clutch for your main clutch once you're playing a fish. So that's the main standout feature of these. They feature aluminium spool body, so it's nice and sturdy. It's lightweight. I mean, look at the balance. If I try and find the right sort of balance point, that's a 12-foot, 3¼ pound rod, I think this is. And it's balanced nicely, so it's not really heavy, it's not cumbersome. So that's a big plus point as well. We move on to the handle. It's a CNC machined handle with a soft rubber grip at the end. That's the same on the Pulse-Runner as well. Moving forward, we've got 2 spools when you get these reels. You've got the ones I've got on at the moment, which are slightly shinier versions. You've also got a graphite grey available. The Kelositi has more capacity. So if you, like I've said, if you want to fish larger venues, cast further, Kelositi is going to be the one for you over the Pulse-Runner. But for venues like this, as I get onto in a second, you'll be fine with the Pulse-Runner as well. And then at the front, you've got the adjustment for the main clutch as well. We've also got a line friendly. Of course, you want everything to be line friendly, but the bail arm is nice and machined so that it's smooth. There's no way anything can get damaged in that sense. So it does everything you want it to. You've also got line clips. This one's got a metal one. The Pulse-Runner has a plastic line clip in there, both of them inset into the spool so they don't stick out, nice and out of the way, but can still be used when clipping up and fishing like that. So that is the main features of these rods, and like I said, I think the Freespool function is going to be the main selling point for these reels. Not had a fish for a while, so it's time for a recast and a perfect opportunity to test out some of the casting capabilities of each of these reels. Now, there's absolutely nobody on the lake, so I can do this without disturbing anyone. But it's also worth noting, I've just picked the rod. It's currently in its Freespool state, wind. It's now into my preset clutch, just as I was talking about, so nice and easy. Bring this one in, then I'll bring the other one in as well. I need to do a recast, got some bags knocked up ready. It's time to see how they cast. So this one is the Pulse-Runner, not the slowest of oscillation. So it's, if that's something you're after, I don't have a hook bait on there, so something's gone wrong. But right, time to recast this one. So I've got I think it's a 2.5 ounce lead on there, it's actually 3.5 pound test curve rod, and this is the Pulse-Runner. Just give this a little test. Absolutely whizzing out. Stop that before it goes too far. Absolutely no issues there. I mean, that was easily 60, 70 yards, I'd say, on what I'd say is quite a small reel with, as you can see, the oscillation isn't exactly slow, but that hasn't hindered it on its casting capabilities. Reeling in, feels nice and smooth, so it's doing everything you'd expect a reel to do. Casts out, brings it in, and has caught me a fish so far. So, almost all the way in. I'll knock up a bag. I've got a bag ready for that to stick on, but just pop that one to one side. Pick up the Kelositi, the bigger one of the two. And again, currently in its Freespool state, wind, and it's now into its set clutch. Bring this one in, tighten up a bit more. This one, of course, being a bigger reel, retrieves a bit quicker than the Pulse-Runner. Same setup, same size lead, same rod. Time to give this one a try. Again, cast just as well for this sort of distance. Quite impressive how similar they are, but of course this one is going to be better suited to bigger venues, and it did feel smoother. And also you've now got more of a cranking power, slower oscillation on this one as well, so the line lay is ever so slightly finer than on the Pulse-Runner. So for those of you that are trying to get those extra yards, then you'd probably go for the Kelositi. But as you just saw, both of those reels have coped absolutely fine with a venue of this size. So once this is back in, a couple of new bags on there, and then we're getting whizzed straight back out. Now, I said at the very start of the video, why would you opt for Kodex reels over, say, Daiwa or Shimano? And Kodex themselves admit that they are the top dogs when it comes to reels. And it comes down to price. So many of you comment the negatives on all the products that we review are the prices. It's so often what is drawing you back from wanting to get it or take any more notice of the products we're bringing you because of carp tax. So Kodex have listened, they know how so many of you anglers feel when it comes to prices, so they haven't priced you out with these. Starting off with the Kelositi, Pulse-Runner just had a beep. Starting off with the Kelositi, that comes in at $79.99 RRP, but if you shop around, you can get that as down as low as maybe the £65 mark, and then the Pulse-Runner comes at an RRP of $59.99, and again, shop around, you might be able to find them for as low as 40 quid for a reel. So that's great value for money, especially if you consider most people get a set of 2 or a set of 3 reels. So a set of 3 Pulse-Runners, if you're able to get them for around the 40 quid mark, setting you back just £120. And the Kelositi, if you're able to get them down as low as the 65 mark, you're looking at about £190 for a set of 3 reels, which is a massive saving when you consider so many of these reels, rivals, are around £100 plus per reel. So it really does add up when you get in a set of 3. So they've looked after you there in the price. So you've asked for it, cheaper alternatives, we've brought it to you. And for the features you're getting for this, I really can't knock them. I've used them on today's session. I've managed 1 fish so far. I'm going to hang on a bit longer and hopefully get one on the other reel as well and give that a try. But it's done everything I need it to. I haven't felt lacking in having these reels. I haven't got to any point where I thought, this doesn't have that and this other reel does, and that would help me here. It's done everything I need it to, and that is what so many of you need, something that does the job and doesn't break the bank. So for more information, head over to the Kodex website, of course, and also remember to subscribe to us and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads, and also follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter for regular updates. But for now, cheers for watching, and I'll see you again soon.